Okay. Let me. Oh wait, I didn't change my OBS. Okay, that's fine. I realized I didn't change my my what's they call it? Oh wait, not this. This thing. I didn't change the settings, so it looks a little wonky. Hello, how are y'all? Toby Tuber stream idea. Thank you. I'm good, Joseph. What about you? Howdy, hey gang. We all got our textbooks and notepaper ready. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I wanted the stream to be a little more like complex, but it was both last minute and not last minute in the sense of I've been wanting to do the stream for a long time, but it was last minute in the sense of preparation. So don't expect anything crazy. I might not get like crazy in depth either, but I'll probably talk a lot about it. So, you know, just a lot of pictures, not a lot of text, you know? Like, no. Whoa, there she is. I'm a doodle instead of doing notes. I'm good, TY. Hi, everyone. Thank you guys for putting up with me. I've been ghosting you guys on accident. I feel like the last few weeks have been a little crazy. Only because, like, it's getting I think in general things are like getting crazy, probably because like in general, like we're in what is it, Q4, right, for like most businesses and stuff like that, so work is getting crazy. And then I'm still kind of adjusting to my new apartment, and I have my roommates now, and I don't know, low-key I really love hanging out with my roommates. So I feel bad because sometimes I'm like, I need to scream, but then sometimes my roommate's like, hey, do you want to go out, do you want to do something, and I'll be like, I would love to go out. But yeah, so I've been torn between touching grass and being on my computer, you know. And then something else. I'm like, oh, and then I don't want to talk about it too much on stream. I feel like it's not quite. I want my streams to kind of be a space for everyone. But was it this last Wednesday, right? This Wednesday that happened with a certain big decision the country had to do. A lot of people were going through things. I'm not gonna say anything else besides that. OMG chat, she's shedding the femcell shell. I swear, I'm a very, very outgoing person. I swear, I promise you guys. I'm super, like, I could be a little, like, antisocial sometimes. I feel like for the most part, I'm pretty, like, outgoing. Change the title to Yap Session Lamau. It's definitely gonna be a Yap session, trust me. But yeah, so that's kind of been the things about me real quick. Actually, okay, before I get into the rest of the stream, because I want to like talk a little bit before I like keep going, right? Okay, let me lower my volume for my BGM just a little more. Yeah, how are you guys been doing? I'm sorry, like I said, I'm sorry for not being on stream as much, but how are you guys doing? So the Nasuverse immediately loses half the chat. Okay, like I said, I don't know how in depth I'm gonna go. I might just go like maybe not even the basics yet, maybe a little deeper than the basics, at least an understanding, right, of like what fate is, you know. So today we're gonna learn about the best waifu on earth, Medusa. Yeah, you know, she's a good choice. She's a good choice. Oh my god, for a second I thought I trapped my roommate's cat in my room. So I have 3 cats. My roommate has 1 cat, and he's been having a little bit of trouble adjusting to an all-female cat environment. And he's very vocal. So for a second I thought he had like wandered in my room because I heard him meow, and yeah, I thought like, oh, like I thought I had like let one of them in. Here, 1 second. I think my roommate's saying something. Hold on 1 second. Let me mute myself real quick. Okay, returned. Black girls matter. She is the choice. What do you mean? Black girls do matter. I understand that. I was actually watching Fate Babylonia today, and I was like, there's too many Medusas here. Honey, devoted wife, caster Medea is right there. Medea kind of crazy though, like in a good way, but she do be kind of like crazy. I have been better, especially considering recent events, but me and Kat are planning on moving sometime next year. Yay! I hope you guys move into somewhere you really enjoy. I hope you guys get like the perfect location of what you guys want, you know? I'm really rooting for you guys. But Medusa, everyone else, grass, the prices, the price we pay for busted swords is, wait, hold on, I can't read. The price we pay for a busted sword is Boardwalk 2. The only competition I would consider is Merlin. Male Merlin. Wait, both Merlins are good though. Hold on. I know the game is always, I know Fate's always like, oh, Merlin's like a scumbag, but like, I don't know. I kind of like Merlin. Let me move I have a napkin covering the LED light that like lights up my desk a little bit. I have a tissue covering it so it doesn't like flashbang me every time I scream, and I was kind of covering chat for like a second. Mordred is right there, literal best savers. So true. I fell in love with Mordred in Apocrypha. I was like, oh my god, this is literally the best servant ever. Okay, but Da Vinci? Da Vinci's also there's too many good servants. There's too many good servants. You just want to kiss him, Kumo. We know your freaky out taste. And what about it? What about it? I know she a caster, but OMG. You have to do some spells. Okay. Here. I think Azza is the only person in the stream, as far as I'm aware, that doesn't know much about Fate. So I'm gonna get into it before we start throwing out more names. So that way she's not like, what the fuck? I prefer Kama, not Harris. She's 3 and 1. The small one is off limits though. True. I was gonna be like, which one? I don't know about Fate TBH. Oh my god, wait 1 second. My cat's going crazy. Wait, 1 second. Okay. Glad you made the exception. I'm not a nerd. If you're a degenerate Azza, that is enough for Fate Live Out. I only know Fate because of Fate Go, and I watch forgot the name of the anime. There's too many of them. It's okay. Heaven's Feel. Did you start off with Heaven's Feel? That's like really complicated to start off with. Here, let me go to the slides. Wait, let me make sure first before I get to the slide that it's fine. Okay. I'm gonna lower the music just a little bit more. Just teensy bit more. So what is Fate? Wait, let me make myself bigger too. There we go. Perfect size. We talk about Fate. Yeah, what is Fate? It's just too much. It's too much to really say, It just I feel like I'm giving a class presentation. But yeah, Fate is, like I said, there's gonna be a lot of pictures here, not a lot of words or text on the screen. I think it's literally just pictures on the screen. Fate is basically about what they call a Holy Grail War. As you can see, there's a Holy Grail right here, right? It's a Holy Grail War that involves 7 servants. Typically, I'm gonna start off with the basics. Typically starts off with 7 servants. Wait, what is the first Fate? The first in the timeline? Prototype? I'm gonna start off with the bare bone basics of what Fate is as like Fate Zero. I think Fate Zero is the simplest terms of what a Grail War is for the most part, right? So it is about 7 servants and 7 masters fighting for this little thing, this little cup right here, this golden cup you can buy at any thrift store, right? This Grail basically has the power to grant 1 wish, but oh my god, how do I explain it? Maybe I should have written something down. The piston cup, yes, the piston cup. So Indiana Jones got basically it's like it's like a battle royale. So every master gets a servant, and a master is typically a mage, and only the reason why typically it's a mage is because mages are the most like capable of using magecraft or like magic. You know, like they know how to do the spells, they know what it goes into it, that kind of stuff, right? Except no Yahtzees, I assume. Fortnite IRL. I mean, kind of IRL. Yeah, it's pretty much like Fortnite, you know? Whoever the last one wins or standing is the last winner, basically. So here, let me scroll a little bit so you can see the full grail. There we go. But yeah, so typically the master is gonna be like some sort of mage. And the only reason why I say usually is because there's too many reasons or too many examples of people who are not mages in the Fate series accidentally summoning a servant, and I'm constantly baffled every time someone like quote unquote accidentally summons a servant, because I'm just like, this is something that requires so much prep and so much work. How do you accidentally summon one? Like, it doesn't make sense to me, but you know, they do it for the purpose of the storytelling, right? So a servant is summoned, and a servant is someone who is from history. They're like some historical figure, right? And they're brought into our time as kind of a ghost, like a phantasm, basically, that's able to kind of like duke it out with other them. So like, oh my god, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of remember, I kind of forgot some of the people's names. I haven't played the game in so long. I know this one's Paris, right? This one's Paris in the middle. That's the only one I can name. I'm so sorry. But like, for example, these are all servants that you can summon in like a Grail War. It's Fate. Yeah, it's literally Fate. Oh, I remember this. Yeah, super simplest terms. You know, you just kind of, that's what a servant is. It's a tool to use in the Holy Grail War to obtain the Grail. And the reason why you can call them a tool, quote unquote, is because their purpose in the Grail War is to win. You know, so. You know, they're also humans. They're dead humans, right? But they're also individuals themselves. So they have their own ideas, like histories, like all that kind of stuff, right? Since they have like their own way of wanting to do things, sometimes the way the master wants to do it doesn't always align with how they want to do it. So sometimes they will butt heads, kind of thing, you know, or fight. Like things happen, right? Things can get complicated. But ultimately, the master and the servant should have the same goal of getting the Grail, or something along the lines of either if they don't get the Grail, someone else that they know should be getting the Grail. That's the reason why they're entering this whole war, right? If you win the Grail, makes your wish come true, not by bringing it into existence, but creating an alternate world where it exists. Yeah, pretty much. It gets really complicated. It gets really complicated because, you know, like, even though they're fighting for this Grail, this Grail already kind of has enough magic or like mana to bring these people into the world, right? But it doesn't have enough magic to like manifest itself, right? So all 7 of the servants have to die, basically, because they all have enough mana. All 7 of the servants have to die to bring about what they call the Greater Grail, which is the ultimate prize. Cheng Chong oh my god, yes, Bartholomew. I forgot about him. I forgot his name. So this is Cheng Gong, Bartholomew, Charlotte, Corday, Paris, Jason. Oh my god, his name's Jason, I forgot. It's the simplest name and it's Jason. Salome. Oh, so this is Salome. I forgot. Oh my god. I forgot his name too, and I feel bad. And don't forget, some of them swap gender, oftentimes for the reason of, I like tits. Best night, Gareth. Yes, Gareth. Yeah, so one of the things too about the servants is that servants will appear in the way they're best remembered in history. So sometimes it's a mixed bag. You'll get a servant who is either like comes back as who they actually were, like in the past, or they'll come back as how they're best remembered in history. So like, you know, for example, Saber in Fate Zero, which is King Arthur, is a woman in Fate Zero, right? And they explain that by being like, oh, King Arthur was actually a woman in history, but no one knew, you know. even though everyone knows King Arthur to be a man, right? That basically just means that there's two versions of King Arthur you can summon. There's the female King Arthur, which is like the quote-unquote in this Fate universe, like quote-unquote the true Fate Arthur. And then there's the one that is represented in the legend, which is the male one. Which, in this case in Fate, it gets complicated. But in this case, Fate has the male King Arthur as a prototype. But I'm not going to get into that right now because prototypes are also complicated. Oh yeah, I remember Da Vinci as a woman with very big personality. Yes. Well, okay, Da Vinci's a special case though, because so Leonardo da Vinci basically was like, wait, I don't want to come back as a man. I want to come back as a woman, a beautiful woman. And so he literally like was able to change his appearance. If I remember right, that's the lore. If I remember right, that Da Vinci literally changed their own appearance to be from a man to a woman and basically mimic the look of the Mona Lisa, which is why she's so pretty. She's so pretty. I love her so much. So if Thomas Jefferson was a servant, he would be what was like when he made electricity and not when he was an absolute psychopath. Yes, well, yeah, kinda. So Thomas Jefferson, here, let me pull a picture of Thomas Jefferson in Fate. He, to be honest, he's not at all like how you would think like Thomas Jefferson would look like. Oh no, I was thinking Thomas Edison, not Jefferson. Wrong one. Hold on, let me pull up Edison though so you can see him. This is, oh, it might be a little blurry. I think it is a little blurry. Okay, well, that's okay. It's okay. You can still tell the picture. This is how Thomas Edison looks like. He's like a lion man for whatever reason. I don't know why. I genuinely have no idea why he looks like this in the series, but it adds for some comedic effect, you know? He's just there, you know? Thomas Jefferson's daddy. She manipulated his/her own saint's graph. Yes, that's what it was. I mean, Thomas Edison is a lion. I don't know. By this point, what are rules about? Drooling? What the? I hate that line so much. I do too. I don't like him very much. For real, because he lightens my life. He's just a little crazy. That's all I'm gonna say. He's just a little crazy. Yeah, we're gonna get him out of here. Wait, I need to sneeze. Oh, never mind, it didn't come. Never mind, I felt it. Oh, I felt it like build up on my nose and everything, and it just, damn. But yeah, servants. I feel like the series tries to have a guideline of how to come back, but then sometimes an artist just throws a design out there so crazy that the series is just like, fuck it, we're adding it. Like, we're just throwing that in. You know, there's some ideas that I love so much. So like, the thing with Fate 2 is it gives a lot of artists like a good chance, like artists and writers, a good chance to kind of like bring about like how they think it should go. And some ideas are good, some ideas are really, really good, and some of them are not good, some of them are total shit. Like a good example, right, in the series Fate Strange Fake, which I'll go into way later because I can't bring that up right now at the beginning, right? In Fate Strange Fake, Jack the Ripper has no physical form in the sense of they appear as literally anything. So they appear as like a man, they can appear as a child, even as a watch. Like they appear as like anything, literally anything, because in like what we know of Jack the Ripper, we have no idea how Jack the Ripper looks like. We can't even say it was a man, like, right? Like there's not enough evidence to really point at who or what it was, like they were. We just know that someone went around and, you know, committed all these like horrible murders, right? So there's that. I think that's such an amazing, cool idea for a servant to literally not have a shape or form, right? But then there's another person who created Jack the Ripper, and and they created Jack the Ripper as a child. I don't know why, and I hate the lore for him. I hate the lore for her so much. It's a little girl, really, like, you could tell she's a child, and she ends up wearing like such a revealing outfit, and it's so atrocious to look at. I'm not gonna put it on stream, but I hate looking at it. And their lore, how they explain Jack the Ripper is Jack represents the souls of all the children who died in the industrial era of England. And I forgot what else. They explained it in Apocrypha, and I thought it was so dumb because I just remember thinking it doesn't really even tie in with the murders. Like, it was so weird, and I don't know why they brought up, like, they created that as the default, like, design for Jack. Like, it was weird. It's weird, right? Jennifer with Jack the Ripper. I love Jack the Ripper. Like, in Fate's Strange Fake, that Jack the Ripper, so amazing. The Chef's Kiss, amazing design. Even though there's no real design, right? It's just amazing, the concept, right? In the game, Jack the Ripper, I hate him. I hate her so much. I love her as a person, you know, her personality is cute, but her design, I just cannot get over, and I just feel so bad using her. I always have her, because in the game, you get to have, like, 3 different skins for them, basically, like, in their different ascensions, and I just have her in her first skin, because she has, like, a giant cloak that covers her, and that's the only way I can use her. I can't use her any other way. Like Medusa, she's bae, but IRL Medusa kind of sucks. Yeah. I remember my first demon pillar. I was talking to this guy, and then I pressed skip. All of a sudden, there's a towering flash in front of us. IRL Medusa got done dirty by Athena, not gonna lie. Ah yes, the lolly Jack the Ripper. The one we kept in her first design. Yuckers. I would have liked the design, like the different Hassans for Jack. Yeah, that would have been cool. Like, mysterious and kind of slays, you know? Yeah! I hate that, like, as her ascensions keep going, she has less and less clothes. It's honestly so bad. I'm not gonna put her design up on the screen, but it's so bad. But yeah, that's pretty much the basics of a servant. Is they're a tool, they're a historical figure of either the past, present, or the future, and they're used as a tool to win the Holy Grail War, basically. And they have to either, I mean, ideally they work with their masters to win, but there's been a lot of cases where they either work against or they get rid of their master to some degree to get it. But yeah, the only thing that sucks about them is that all 7 servants have to die in order for the greater grail to appear, like the true prize that grants all the wishes, basically. Like that last servant that ends up winning will be able to grant their wish, but they still have to die. That's my understanding, at least. I might be wrong. That's my understanding, is that they still have to die, but they're still able to get a wish granted. So theoretically, if future historical figures can be servants, couldn't Johnny Silverhand be a servant? Yeah, basically. It's kind of dumb because there's, I think, it's not dumb, but I think there's a lot of, like, room for, I don't know, I don't want to explain it too much, but I'm not a big fan of, like, future servants being able to be summoned, because I'm like, well, that hasn't happened yet. But then I guess if by that mindset, the mobile game would be, like, non-existent. But anyways, that's that's kind of how it goes, right? But yeah, also, wait, how about Johnny Sins? Yeah, oh my god, Johnny Sins, it depends if you consider him a historical figure, you know? But yeah, I don't know if I'm overwhelming you guys with the slide right here, but every servant also gets what they call a noble phantasm, which is basically some sort of, like, magical, like, it's like their trump card. It's their, like, I'm about to die, or I need to win this fight, I'm gonna use this, basically. It's like their deal, like, it seals the deal kind of thing. Like, it's their most ultimate ability. I mean, Archer, kind of. Lol, yeah. Dude, he's iconic. A doctor, a landlord, a spaceman? Something about Mr. Sins is certainly historical. I hate to agree with you, but I'm terrified of what his noble phantasm would be. So ultimately, what a noble phantasm is, it is a servant's greatest ability or skill. And so these are all examples of, like, different people's, like, noble phantasms. So a most known infamous one is, and this one right here, is Gilgamesh's Gate of Babylon. And for example, like his noble phantasm, he pretty much uses it all the time, and it's kind of because he has a special skill of the class. So it's kind of crazy because it kind of feeds into each other. Like, so what are you doing, step bro? How about Lancer? No. I think he'd be more of a rider, you know, right? Like maybe, right? I am the bone of my sword. Wait, how does he say it? Like in the Japanese version, it's like, I am the bone of my sword. Like he says it's like kind of funny. Anyways, so yeah, so going back to Gilgamesh, right? So Gilgamesh is some historical information. If you don't know who Gilgamesh is, he is the original hero. Like he is like basically what all legends derive from. Like he's from before Babylonia. He ruled in like the first civilization of Uruk, I believe. And so he's like the original hero of heroes kind of thing, right? And there's just so much about him actually. I love telling his story, but it's kind of lengthy. Gilgamesh is a bitch ass hater. I hate him. I love Gilgamesh. Well, specifically, okay. Archer Gilgamesh can suck it. Caster Gilgamesh, you know, he's kind of cute. He's not the one doing the writing though. It's true. I prefer Rash's MP. They did him good on that movie. I haven't seen the movie yet, only because I've been kind of lazy, but I saw this GIF. Did I include it? Where is it? No, wait. I thought I included it. I didn't. I saw a GIF and it looks so cool, and I'm like, okay, I have to watch the movie. I have to. Gilgamesh X Enkidu. Yeah, they're so cute together. So, real quick, Gilgamesh's lore is that he is, I believe, 2/3 like god and 1/3 human. And this is like in the age of gods, where the gods are kind of like not dying out, but their powers are kind of dying out over like humanity. So they were like, okay, let's bridge this. Let's have someone who's part god, part human come down, be the ruler, and they'll kind of be our bridge to keep that like power over the humans. And so the gods checked in with Gilgamesh after a little bit, and they're like, all right, Gil, like, you know, we're gonna tell you what we want you to tell the humans, and you know, you have to listen to us. They're gonna listen to us. It's gonna be great, right? And then Gilgamesh was kind of like, I'm not feeling it. I'm gonna do my own thing. And then the gods were like, no, you can't do your own thing. You have to listen to us. And basically Gilgamesh was like the first one to kind of be like, no, I'm gonna do my own thing. We're not gonna listen to you guys anymore. We're just gonna, you know, we're gonna kind of cut you guys off, basically. And so that obviously made the gods really upset, because they had sent Gilgamesh down with one purpose, and he wasn't fulfilling his purpose. Gilgamesh was the king of Uruk at this point, and so the gods were like, you know what, fuck you, Gil. We're gonna send down this clay doll called Enkidu, and Enkidu is going to like kick your ass basically and show you what's for, right? So out of clay they make this dude. This, I believe Enkidu's technically gender neutral or non-binary. I forgot what it is because it made out of clay. But so they make Enkidu, and Enkidu's power basically like matches Gilgamesh. They're like equal levels. And for the first time in Gilgamesh's life, he's like, you know what? This guy is pretty strong. I respect him. We're best friends at this point. I love this guy. So, you know, they become biffles, right? At least he said the caster one and not the Shoto one. Oh, no. The child one is... no, that's a child. That's a child. Enkidu is molded from the image of a harlot. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Actually, no, yes. Enkidu in legend is molded after, I think... I forgot if she was a godly harlot, though, or if she was like just like a regular human. I forgot exactly what she was. But... I know in the Fate, at least in the English version of Fate, I believe they do refer to Enkidu as he and they. I might be wrong. I might be forgetting. I haven't played the game in a bit, but yeah. And so Gilgamesh and Enkidu, they kick it off really well, because then Enkidu's kind of like, wait, I kind of like hanging around this guy too. This guy's pretty cool. And Gilgamesh respects Enkidu so much. He's literally the only person that Gilgamesh has genuine respect for, actually treats him like a person, and actually like wants his company around. Which is funny because Enkidu is kind of like, I'm just a weapon. Like, Enkidu doesn't really see himself as a person. He just kind of sees himself as like a weapon that the gods will use, basically. And he thinks of himself as a weapon to Gilgamesh. So Gilgamesh is literally like holding his hand, being like, "You're my best bro. I will do anything for you." And Enkidu is just like, "Okay, yeah, like, what do you need me to do?" And Gilgamesh is like, "No, you're not getting it. Like, like, you're my best bro." A slaying machine, truly. Gilgash on site. Basically, he just took me for real. Friends, yeah, they're, you know, like, you know how most historians are, like, you know, they were friends, right? So, so yeah, and then the gods basically are like, well, actually, before the gods do this, so, this bitch right here, Ishtar, in this corner, she goes up to Gilgamesh, and Ishtar at this point is kind of sleeping around with all the gods. She has a bunch of husbands that she's like divorced or gotten rid of, and like I think she's the god of beauty and something else, right? So she's known for being very beautiful, but also being extremely cruel. So she goes up to Gilgamesh and she's like, "Hey, baby girl, like, let's get together." And Gilgamesh is like, him just seeing her, like, I think just like recently like splitting from her last husband, he's kind of like, "I don't want none of that. Like, I don't care for you. Like, stay away from me. Like, I don't want you at all, physically or anything," right? And Ishtar takes full offense to this because she's used to like people like drooling over her because, again, she's like a very beautiful divine being, right? So she goes up to her dad and she's like, "Daddy, Daddy, Gilgamesh doesn't like me. What do I do?" And and her dad, who's the god of all the gods, right? He's like, "Okay, we're gonna send down this giant bull," and this giant bull, I think, ends up. Oh no! I think this giant he sends out this giant bull, and Gilgamesh and Enkidu together bring it down, which is kind of crazy because this is like a killing machine kind of thing, right? So the gods are super upset that Gilgamesh and Enkidu were able to accomplish this, and I might be getting the story wrong, but I think after that the gods were like, "Wait a second, we created Enkidu, let's just kill him." And so they turn him back into clay. They dissolve him. And in Gilgamesh's arms, like, dies Enkidu, essentially. Like, he just returns back to clay and is no more. The gods got angry at them when they became besties because Enki's supposed to control Gil. Yeah, they're so mad. We back a rescue goal on this chat. Good work, Sergeant Hani. Space Ishtar, though. Okay, Space Ishtar is kind of cute, though, not gonna lie. Yeah, so then this is where wait, so they sent the bull, they beat it, Enki got, and that's when Gil realized the fragility of life. He searched for the herb. I was gonna say the herb. He searched for the herb. Yeah, basically, once Enkidu dissolves into clay and poured Gilgamesh's arm, he's just like, "Wait a second, I'm 1/3 human. My mortality is like slipping away at some point. I'm gonna die, right?" So he decides to go on this whole quest to find the herb of immortality, and he goes to this whole there's like a giant like mass like quest that he goes on, basically, and he ends up finding it. And once he finds it, he's like, "You know what, I'm gonna take a little break, you know, before I eat this herb of immortality. I'm just gonna take a little break. I'm gonna sit by this pool, this nice little spa pool, and relax and like take a breather." And then, funny enough, this is also where the legend of snakes like peeling their skin comes from, because as Gilgamesh puts down this herb, he doesn't notice a snake coming by and eats it. And the snake, once it eats it and ingests it, it peels its skin. And that's kind of like the legend of where that came from. And so then Gilgamesh kind of looks at the snake, being like, "What the fuck, bro?" But then after, he's kind of like, "You know what? I don't need immortality. I'm just gonna face death like a human. You know, I'll be fine. Everything's gonna be a-okay." And he kind of goes from being this, like, in his early life, being like a tyrant and very cruel and very demanding, to being like a very wise and maybe not kind per se, but like very wise and helpful like leader of Uruk, basically. So that's Gilgamesh's whole legend, right? Space Aresh is superior. So I'm so glad I pulled her on her last banner. I don't think I I don't think I ever pulled her, which kind of makes me sad. But yeah, so that's Gilgamesh's whole legend basically, and that's why he's kind of known as being like the first hero of humanity, because it's like the Epic of Gilgamesh, right? It's this extremely well-known legend of him, and he goes on all these different quests, all these different things happen to him, and you know, he's like the first hero, right? And he owns this like treasury full of like all these crazy intricate things, and basically every new invention, every new weapon, anything that could be considered as a treasure that is in modern time today and in the future, present, everything, is in his treasury. That's basically what his treasury holds. It holds anything that's considered valuable in a treasure. And so his noble phantasm, he's able to open up the Gate of Babylon, which is a gate that opens up his treasury, and he just flings weapons at you basically at full speed. Like, I forgot what the velocity is, but it's like an crazy velocity that he's able to shoot these like weapons at you, and you're lucky if you dodge them, right? Like, you have to be quick, you know. And so that's why he's considered an archer. So I'll explain the classes in a second, but he's considered an archer class because he just flings these fucking swords at you, and you just have to hope you know he misses or something. Because, you know, his whole idea is he's an archer because the gate is his bow and the weapons is his arrows. Another cool thing about in the archer class is that archers so they have two skills, I believe, that are like class tied. One of them is that they have extremely good vision. So even if they have glasses or whatever it is, an archer will always be able to see incredibly far away. Like, they can see like several miles out and be able to describe exactly what they're seeing. Like, it's not like they're seeing like, oh, it's a little blurry, but they see it. It's just like they can clearly see several miles away. Like, I forgot what all the numbers are, right? But they have extremely good vision. And that's what they're, you know, it's because they're archers. They have to have these good vision. They're kind of used as snipers almost, right? And then another thing too is that archers actually use up a lot less mana than all the other classes. So they're very independent. So Gilgamesh is constantly able to use his Gate of Babylon all the time because he has like a surplus store of mana. Both he gets from his master and what he's able to store up on his own. Which is kind of crazy. So it just kind of feeds into himself of like the amount of power this guy can have. So every time he fights, he's always pulling from his Noble Phantasm. He's constantly using his Noble Phantasm, which is a very, very unique thing to be able to do, because typically, like I mentioned earlier, a Noble Phantasm is like your trump card. You use it once, and that's supposed to be it kind of thing, right? But Gilgamesh is able to use it like 24/7, no like hesitation. He just like, he will use it for anything, right? Wait, let me read the chat. I missed a lot. He realized that life is... Oh my god, I can't read. He realized that the life foe him away... Oh, fuck him away. So he... Oh my god, I cannot read. I'm so sorry. So live life his fullest is the best option. So theoretically, he could have several adult toys in his... Yes, theoretically, I think he could. I don't know if that's something he would have, but theoretically, yes. He lived like a god, he got humbled, died like a human, contently. Yeah, he lived a good human life, basically, or human-ish life. By the way, chat, please no singularity spoiler, I'm still in Camelot. You're still in Camelot? I'm gonna spoil so much. As I see the gif on the upper right corner, that's one of his toys. Oh, no, that is not one of his toys. It is definitely a part of his treasury, but I wouldn't say a toy. Archers are really made up of archers. Yeah, archers, I think it's funny what the Grail will consider certain classes or certain servants, depending on like what they just do, which I think is just funny. Not the most odd example of an archer class we've seen. Looks at Emiya. That's true. So, I mean, he at least has a bow. Of course, he doesn't use it all the time, but at least he has a bow. Meanwhile, Gilgamesh just fucking flings shit at you. Like, at least this one has a bow occasionally. Archers have excellent detection, but can't detect assassins. Ah, I see, honey. That's his big sword. Wink, wink. this thing he has right here is another one of his, I guess you can consider another one of his Null Phantasms. The only I forgot if it is officially considered one or not, and the only reason why I forget is because so this giant sword thing he has is called Ea, spelled E-A, and Ea basically disrupts. If I remember right, the abilities, Ea disrupts like space and time essentially, and is able to like break things apart, and like it's just crazy what it's able to do. It's very destructive basically, and it can take apart so much. And so you might think like, oh, I can definitely dodge Gilgamesh, like easy peasy, no problem, because our servants are incredibly fast. But if you are incredibly fast, Gilgamesh can easily just whip out Ea and like decimate you in like a second, basically. He's like most of the servants in the universe are like child's play, like in comparison to like Gilgamesh. Of course, not all, but it's just really hard to defeat him. But you know, every servant has like their trump card. So like. This is, I'm gonna butcher his name, but I say Cuchulainn. I know it's not pronounced Cuchulainn, but, you know, that's what I say. He has his incredible lance, the Gay Bull, which is, I'm not gonna go into his lore, but he has cool lore too. But this lance is basically able to, like, pierce your heart, and there's a thing about it of, like, it pierces your heart before it actually hits you. And it's almost like a death sentence, pretty much. So once he uses it, you're, like, the chances of you surviving that are like crazy. And there's like I have Nobunaga up here too. Her ability is to like summon a bunch of guns and like shoot them at you, but of course they're all guns that are like crazy powerful, and like it might not look super impressive here, but if you read like some of the manga and like see like fan art and other things too, like you can kind of imagine how like kind of crazy this is, you know. That Gilgamesh twice certainly takes rearranging your guts to the next level. It's in the game. The Gay Bold. Yeah, Gay Bold. Nobunaga, woo! Sorry, the what? Same brain cell turkey. But yeah, I know Ea's in the game, but I don't know, like I still kind of like hesitate to call it like a Null Phantasm because it's still technically being pulled from the Gate of Babylon, right? But then I guess the Gate of Babylon has multiple Null Phantasms. But then I guess there's like a Null Phantasm like paradox at that point, right? Like which one is he actually using, right? Anyways, but yeah, so everyone has their abilities, and every ability, not every, but like a lot of abilities also have things that like stack up on each other or that add additional skills or like other it's very flexible, basically, what a Null Phantasm can do. There's no strict rules of this is what a Null Phantasm can and can't do. A lot of them are just really intricate, and it's typically tied to how the servant is remembered in history as well. Like, for example, Shakespeare is super as an offensive servant. Shakespeare is completely useless, but he has a cool Null Phantasm where he has his book, and whatever he writes in that book basically comes true. Which is kind of crazy, like, you know, like, so everyone's Null Phantasm works in different ways. Some of them are less flashy than others, but they're all basically an absolute kind of, like, ability. I'm trying to think another thing, too, about Null Phantasms is that, so with servants, when you summon one, you typically get to know, like, if you're a master, you get to know what your servant's name is, because they'll introduce themselves, but you shouldn't go around saying, oh my god, my servant is, like, Gilgamesh, or whatever it is, right? Because, everyone will know kind of, like, what, like, for example, actually, no, a better example is Achilles, right? Like, you'd be like, oh my god, I summoned Achilles. If you go around telling people, I summoned Achilles, guess what? They're all gonna aim for his fucking heel, right? Like, they're gonna know his weakness, they're gonna know his legends, they're gonna know a bunch of other things, too. And typically in a lot of historical figures' legends, right, their weakness is also tied in there. So if you know their name, you will have an idea of how to defeat them. Of course, not every time, right? Like sometimes, like in general, you just won't have something that is able to like match up to them. But it gives you a lot easier of a chance to figure out like how to defeat them, right? And this whole game is basically trying to kill each other or trying to kill all the servants. So you don't want to like, give away anything that's gonna like help kill your servant. And so when servants use their Null Phantasms, except for very few cases, like Gilgamesh doesn't have to do this really, and like some other servants, right? But whenever they use their null phantasm, they have to say the name of that null phantasm. So like Lancer or Kukulane in the situation would have to yell out Gay Bolt, right? Like that would be his own phantasm. Or like in this scene, Gilgamesh would yell out like Aya, like stuff like that, right? That's kind of how it goes, right? They have to yell out their name of the null phantasm for them to be able to use it, and that's like a dead giveaway usually of like who they are. Like for example, if King Arthur rolls in on the battlefield and yells out Excalibur, everyone's gonna know, oh my god, it's King Arthur, because they're using fucking Excalibur, right? So that's kind of like another thing too, like where if they use their null phantasm, it's like typically something that they're trying to use to win the battle or defend themselves in the battle, but it can also be like annoying to use. Like a lot of times servants will use it once in the battle and then withdraw ASAP because, you know, like there's a chance now that they might be able to get defeated if they don't kill their enemy in that one blow. Wait, EA Sports, it's in the game. I keep thinking about that too, like EA. Shakespeare's useless. Wait, hold on. Wait. You did not say that to my bestie. Shakespeare, useless. He doesn't do shit. I mean, he doesn't do much. He's a little annoying, not gonna lie. But yeah, that's basically the null phantasms. It's a lot. That's basically what null phantasms are, you know? And then we get into servants in my most simplest panel, right? Like, oh, not servants. Oh my god, I'm so dumb. Masters. There we go. So, masters, how I kind of explained earlier, are people who summon the servants to fight for them, and they're typically mages, right? But they're not always mages. And it can literally be like, as long as you have some ability to use magic, you're able to summon a servant. And like 9 out of 10 times you will need like a summoning circle, and you make that out of whatever you need to make it out of. Like it could be either of like blood or powder or like whatever it is, right? Whatever you feel like is gonna bring you the servant you want, you can use, right? And then masters will use occasionally what they call a catalyst, which is something that is tied to the servant, and they'll bring it back. So like for example, like if someone wanted to bring like let's say they wanted to bring Bartholomew, right? They might be able to find like a piece of his clothing, right? And be like, oh my god, I have Bartholomew's scarf, I'm gonna use that in my circle, right? If they want to summon Bartholomew, they would be able to use his scarf, for example, and that would kind of like anchor him down. Otherwise, if you're kind of raw dogging it, like if you're just making the summoning circle and hoping a servant comes to you, it's gonna be whatever servant kind of heeds your call. All these servants are kind of not trapped. I forgot what they're in this thing called the Akasha, if I remember right. And that's kind of too complicated. I'm not gonna talk about it because I don't know enough about it. But they're all in this Akasha basically, and I might be wrong. I might be wrong for what I'm remembering. But every time someone is summoning a servant, they all hear this call, but it just depends whether they want to work with you or not. So. I mean, if you have a catalyst, for the most part, they will heed your call, because they'll be like, oh, it's like anchoring me down kind of thing, right? But like, if you don't have a catalyst, then you're kind of hoping, you're trying to see who you end up getting, right? And you don't really get to choose exactly who you get. Sometimes the Grail, from what I've noticed in the stories and like in the game and other things too, like the Grail will choose like if not all the masters are chosen to participate, I feel like the Grail kind of chooses people, and they'll be like, I want this person to be in the war, and I'm gonna give them the servant kind of thing. I know they don't talk about too much, at least from what I've seen, they don't talk about too much, but I'm very certain the Grail is very is like a conscious being, right? Like that kind of, I have it like, I don't know, I don't want to say I have a theory, because I'm like, wait, what if they talked about this in the story, right? But I'm gonna say it's a theory that like the Grail kind of already knows who's gonna win for the most part, and decides who's gonna participate in the war based off like you know who they want it to win. But I don't know. I'm like, maybe it's not a theory, maybe it's true, but that's kind of how I think of it. What I've noticed in a lot of this series and everything. But yeah, that's basically the relationship the masters have with their servants. Lovecraft as a servant would be pretty powerful. Canonically, can't be the worst can't be worse than Angra. For Gilgamesh, you need a golden toy. Jesus Christ. So it's a little bit like a deity worship. Yeah, basically. That might be a bit of a stretch though. I was gonna say Ouija board. I mean, Saber was summoned on accident via the power of pipes. Basically, and I'm so mad that so many servants are quote-unquote accidentally summoned. Cause I'm just like, how do you accidentally summon them? You know, like, I think it's crazy. I guess Arthur's best weapon, a pipe. But yeah, there are some masters who of course will see their servant and they won't see them as like a person. They're gonna see them as like a tool. So they're gonna be like, you abide by me, you listen to me, and like, I'm your master, I tell you what to do, and you know, you have to do it. And there's other masters who are like, wait, this servant is a person, you know, they have their own ideas, they have their own feelings, I'm gonna try to respect them, let's see how this goes. So it's always a mixed bag, right, of like how the master will respond to having a servant. And then there's also different parties that are involved in the Grail War. Typically it's usually someone from Clock Tower, and Clock Tower is kind of like Harvard for like mages basically. And then you have the church, and the church is supposed to be a neutral zone, like a neutral representation in the Grail, so that way if anyone needs assistance or needs like anything, they can go to the church. And then there's oh, I'm forgetting the other one. There's another group that is typically in the Grail War. Oh, the Einsburn family, which I'm not going to explain them very much, but there's a German family out there who loves making homunculuses, and they use the homunculuses to try to win the wars, and it always fails, but they're good attempts, but they just always fail, right? But yeah, so there's always those three parties involved in the Grail War, and then a little bit of like different random people. So it just kind of depends on like who ends up hearing about the Grail War, who actually gets a chance to participate, and who has the ability to participate. And then a cool thing too, when you become a master, you get a sick ass tattoo on your hand. You don't get this exact tattoo. It really depends. You just get like a random symbol tattoo kind of thing on your hand. And so like, for example, like this tattoo is broken up into three parts, right? There's this part right here, and there's this part right here, and there's this last bottom bit, right? How all command spells work, unless you're part of the church. I think the church is the only exception. Command spells have three parts to them, and those are three like commands you get to your servant, and your servant has to abide by those commands. So like, for example, if your servant is duking it out and you want them to come home, and you like telepathically tell them, you know, like you go like, King Arthur, come home, right? And King Arthur's like, no, I'm duking it out, I don't want to come home. But you're like, please come home, I need you, right? And they don't want to go, then you can use one of your command spells, and King Arthur's gotta be like, shit, like, I gotta go, like, I have to listen, right? So that's basically how they work. Once you run out of all three though, your servant does not have to abide by you. So it's kind of almost like a leash a little bit, because your servant can't really like fall out of place, because they know you have these command spells, and you have some level of control over them no matter what with these command spells. The moment you run out of all three, the servant's kind of like, well, I don't have to listen to you, because you no longer have something to hold over me, basically. You know, a good master usually doesn't have to use up all three, maybe one, but you know, like, if you use up all three, your servant probably fucking hates you. Like, your servant probably is like, I'm killing this person. If I had a nickel for every time a German tried creating the perfect candidate to win a war, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. Candidate, shit. Shit on a stick. Technically, any German king did the same thing, tricky. It's like, if I have more than 2 nickels. But yeah, so, another thing too, what typically holds servants in line with the masters is that the master is kind of the anchor holding that servant in place, because the master is alive, and so they have like mana flowing through them constantly, right? Meanwhile, the servants, they have their own mana, but they get it through the master, essentially. So if they no longer have a master, then they no longer have a source of mana, and so they're no longer able to be tied down. For majority of the classes, in this case, the servants would disappear very quickly after the master died, unless they're able to find a replacement master. But in some cases, like for example, archers, like how I mentioned, they're very independent. They have like a day or two before they like disappear. Most other servants would have like maybe 20-30 minutes, you know, but archers are able to have their own like mana supply, right? So that's kind of what keeps servants from killing their masters. Not saying it's a common thing, but it's definitely not unheard of. You know, there are some very cruel servants out there who will and has like kill their masters, right, for whatever reason. You know, sometimes it's very well deserved. Like for example, Medea, she's a boss bitch, right? She, like, I think when she got summoned in one of, I forgot which war she got summoned in. I'm pretty sure it was Medea. No, it wasn't Medea. Or was it? I'm trying to remember. There was one servant out there who she killed her master because she got weird vibes from him, you know, and I would too. So, you know, there's different situations of why a servant will want to kill their master and look for someone else different, everything, right? But it just kind of depends on who they are. There's some servants out there who are like, I will listen to my master no matter what. If they tell me to kill myself, I'm gonna kill myself, you know, like. So it just really depends, right, who you end up getting. It's literally a mixed bag of what you end up getting, what kind of relationship you end up having. Like, some relationships may be good, some of them might be not as good. Are we gonna we're gonna talk about how masters replenish their servants' mana? Or is that for the NSFW stream? Anyways, so yeah, there are other situations too, though, where servants don't have to go through their master to get mana. Like for example, a servant can just go out and start fucking killing people, because, you know, all beings, technically all living beings, have some form of mana in them, whether it be a lot or a little, or if they know about it, they don't know about it, right? Every living thing has some sort of mana in it, right? And so a servant, if they really wanted to, right, they could just go out, slaughter like 10 people, and they don't need their master anymore for like who knows how many days, because they'll have an abundance of mana like stocked up, right? So that's the thing that also happens, which if you're a chaotic master, you'll allow this to happen. Otherwise, it's just, you know, it gets kind of crazy, you know, it gets a little too crazy sometimes, but that's something that could happen. But yeah, so that's basically what a master does for their servant, what a servant does for the master. They're supposed to have at least a working relationship, but it's always a little bit different. That Medea during stay night, I believe. Oh, was it Medea? I'm like, I feel like it was her, but I didn't remember if it was Strange Fake, or if it was Fate Stay Night. I didn't remember exactly which one it was. She almost croaked, then found the teacher after icing her first master because she used kids as batteries. Yeah. So if you drink Splurge, you could consume a bunch of mana. I don't know if that's how it works out exactly, but potentially. Just imagine kind of like vampires without the actual like biting part. Though there are vampiric servants out there. There's a couple of them. Like there's Vlad the Impaler. There's Camilla. I think there's one other vampire servant. I mean, technically Elizabeth Bathory, but she looks different, so I'm not gonna call her a vampire. But I know Camilla's a vampire, and then there's Vlad the Impaler that is a vampire as well, or Vlad the Third in the game. But yeah, so that's kind of a servant master. You get this cool ass tattoo. you get a hopefully whatever pair you end up getting with your servant and your master works out, you know. But yeah, and then getting into the technical stuff of the Grail War, of like the fighting and everything. Vamps my beloved. I mean, almost every MC dates their servant, so Splurge kind of stop. Not all of them, you know, only the main MCs, you know, but so this is where the technical stuff gets involved, where this kind of becomes a game of chess and checkers kind of thing, right? So you have I don't know, chat's actually kind of blocking. Let me see if I can move it a little bit. Can I move you? There we go. Let me see if it's still blocked in chat. No, okay, it's a lot better. So every servant, so like I said, there's different classes, right? So every servant kind of is summoned as a different class, And it kind of depends on your fighting style or what you're known for. Like, for example, King Arthur is going to come back as a saber, right? Because King Arthur is known to use swords, right? There's not a lot of legends out there with him using a bow, whatever, so it's going to be like a sword. He's a knight as well, right? And then you get a lancer, and like, for example, Cuchulainn, again, I'm probably butchering his name, but Cuchulainn is known for using a lance. Like, that's in his legend, he uses a lance, so he's going to come back as a lancer, right? Same thing with Archer, like Robin Hood would come back as an archer because, you know, he's known for using the bow. Like, it's in all of his legends, all of his stories and everything. A bunch of fan art with him, right, is him with a bow. Same thing with all the other, like, classes. It just depends on what they're known as or remembered as. Then they'll come back as that class for the most part. Riders, if you're known for, like, for example, if you're, like, a famous chariot rider or something, right, you're going to come back as a rider. Or if you're known for kind of like leading into battle or stuff like that, right? You could come back as a rider. And the same thing with caster. So caster is actually kind of interesting. Caster doesn't just fall under as, oh, if you know how to do magic. It also falls under as, like, for example, Shakespeare comes back as a caster because his stories are so like amazing that it basically almost feels like you're being transported to a different world. It's almost magical, one could say, right? So, you know, Shakespeare will come back as a caster, and that goes for most of the creative, like, servants. So, like, there's Hans Andersen, I think that's his name, right? He comes as a caster because he's also a writer. Da Vinci's a caster because they're an artist. Like, same thing, right? Like, anything that's creative that creates that feeling of like you're going to a different world, almost kind of thing. You come back as a caster. Assassin's kind of easy if you're known as if you're known as an assassin, right? Like, in history, you're gonna come back as an assassin. But yeah, so there's all the other different, like, smaller classes that I can explain in a second. Oh, actually, Berserker, right here in the bottom, is another one of the classes. So how I mentioned there's 7 servants that are summoned. Every servant is one of these classes. So you'll have 6 of these regular classes, and then you'll have one special, which is a berserker. And a berserker kind of goes all out. It kind of goes crazy. They just fucking go, like, goes ball deep into, like, fights, right? They just do not care. Their berserkers are typically known for, like, truly any of the servants can come back as a berserker. And you don't have to be known for anything in particular, though it does help sometimes. A berserker is known for being incredibly powerful, incredibly unstoppable, and kind of dumb, right? Like, they're all bronze, no brains kind of thing, right? And it's particularly because they have I'm forgetting it. It's a berserker, like, there's a word for it, and I forgot what they call it in Fate. But it's something that, I had it for a second, I lost it. But yeah, it's like they have something basically that veils their mind, but like pumps them up essentially, like kind of like steroids kind of thing, right? So typically if you're a berserker, you'll have like a hard time like being patient, grasping like logical ideas, or even like, you know, you're just not quite able to make like the best decisions for the most part, right? You're kind of mostly filled with anger or excitement, and you kind of just go crazy, you know. One of the very few exceptions to this is Hercules, because Hercules is actually so incredibly strong that he is able to think logically and rationally. It's just that with the madness enhancement, that's what it's called. Madness enhancement is what they use for berserkers. So the only thing that holds Hercules back is that he's not able to speak because of this madness enhancement. That's the only thing that it kind of like nerfs him, is just that he's not able to speak. But the berserkers are able to speak, right? But a lot of times, like, they're just kind of crazy, wild, deranged. Like, they're a very dangerous class, not only for the other servants, but they're also dangerous for the master, because berserkers, since they're going crazy in the fights, and they're just in general crazy like servants, you're using a lot of like mana to have them under control and to like make sure they're not doing anything out of place, right? So oftentimes, if you're a master using a berserker, you either have an incredible amount of mana, or you're really unlucky. It's kind of like one or the other, basically. It just hurts to have them, but if you're able to stick it out, they can be very fruitful in the fight. Lancelot Berserker screams like a goddamn madman. Wait, if Medusa was my servant, I'd date her. Same with Merlin, male Merlin. You did not say that about my bestie friend. And my other husband, Arjuna Alter. Ooh, Arjuna Alter with the cat ears? Hold on. Oh, that reminds me, I forgot if I mentioned, for my birthday, my friend got me a plushie of Karna and Arjuna. So Karna came home, but just as a plushie. But Nightingale just cares about my health to the extreme. Best nurse, a little too caring. She'd kill for you, including yourself. Yeah, she really would. So yeah, all berserkers are kind of crazy. Again, the amount that they're nerfed, it varies from servant to servant, and like depends on their skills, their abilities, like their like just in general, it just really depends. But typically a lot of berserkers will fall under like being really crazy but really strong. And I have this little like list right here I found most of this on Reddit, so there's a little list right here that I found of also like the average that the class falls under. So like sabers typically have a lot of strength. Their endurance can be a little lacking. The same thing with the agility and the magic, luck, etc. Luck really has a big portion in the fight. Like it really does help out a servant. If they have high luck, they're able to kind of like pull off crazy things, and and it'll work out. They're lucky, right? So you want a servant who has a lot of luck. It's not like your servants are gonna know what their stats are, but like in the game at least it's kind of nice, because then in the game you get to see the stats for your servant. But in general, how the average for your servants are, and it kind of does translate into the animes and the shows as well, because there's some servants out there that almost like they should die here, they should have died here, and they did it, and it's because they have like a higher like luck rating or whatever it is, right? Oh, my cat scared me. She meowed and I just like kind of looked over. But yeah, so this is kind of like all the things. So there's some servants you're gonna want more than others. Like for example, sabers are very sought after. Like if you have a saber, oftentimes you're gonna be like the winner, because sabers are very strong. They're very well rounded in general, and they have like typically they're also very well known prominent figures of history. So you kind of like get more like socialized people, like good people, But it varies, right? It varies depending on who you get. Archers are also kind of sought after as well, but only because they're able to kind of hold their ground a lot easier. The cool thing, even though assassins score kind of pretty low on a lot of things, what makes an assassin really worthwhile is that they're able to hide their presence. So all servants are able to detect like other servants around them. I forgot what the radius is, but they're able to kind of detect other servants near them, right? And assassins are able to cloak themselves completely. So, as like for example, like Ryder might be like, oh, I can sense like a servant 2 miles away from me, but they won't be able to sense the assassins like right behind them, right? So that's like one of the things that kind of makes an assassin worthwhile, is that they're able to truly hide themselves, and they're known for sneak attacks. So they're like something to really watch out for. Of course, that's why a lot of people hate assassins, because they just do a bunch of sneak attacks. But you just gotta watch out, watch your back, Wait, if I have to break your legs to keep you alive, I will. Nightingale, probably. Nightingale seems cool. Yeah, Nightingale is really cool. She's really fucking terrifying, but she's super cool. She's very cool, a bit crazy, but still cool. Unironic top 5 ride or die as a. What about riding and dying? And casters because they scale like monsters. With Nightingale, you ride and die probably. Yeah, I think you would, especially in her. To be honest, her Christmas outfit kind of goes a little crazy too. Yeah, casters are also low-key mages love casters, and that's mainly because like servant casters typically have the ability to actually like lock into like true magic, because what like all the mages use nowadays, like quote nowadays, right? But what mages use in the Fate series isn't true magic. It's kind of like knockoff magic. It's not like the true magic that their ancestors were able to use it for. It's kind of like the remnants of it. So when you summon a caster, there's a high chance that they're able to actually like use true magic. So a lot of mages actually like go crazy for their magic, you know, because it's like they're able to actually use it, you know. But of course it's only like a temporary thing, right? You can't have your caster around forever. So it's just what they have and what they're able to observe when they have a caster, you know. But yeah, so everyone kind of has a different like scaling and different abilities. It's just kind of what you're looking for, what kind of person you are as well, that will like go into what you want as a servant. But yeah, I don't think you get to choose who you get in the sense of like what class you end up getting, because like how I mentioned earlier too, your servant might come as a different class. Like for example, like Gilgamesh comes in 2 forms of classes. He comes as a caster and as an archer. So who knows, you might get like Gilgamesh caster or Gilgamesh lancer, or sorry, Gilgamesh archer. I can't talk. Or you might get like, I'm trying to think of other classes, other servants. Like maybe you don't get Riding, or not Riding Hood, Red Robin. Oh my god, I can't talk. Robin Hood. Oh my god, I was thinking Red Robin and Little Red Riding Hood, and it just was not working out. You might get like Robin Hood as a assassin instead of an archer, right? Kind of thing. So even though you might have a catalyst that will draw that servant to you, you might not guarantee what class you're gonna get, right? But you only get 7 of these in general. Like everyone only gets 1 out of the 7 kind of thing, right? So if you know someone gets a caster, then fuck, you're out of luck. You can't get the caster anymore because someone already has it, kind of thing, right? Let me move my model so you guys are able to see. Oh wait, no, not that. What am I moving? There we go. So you guys are able to see this other corner. This is a cute little picture someone had drawn of like different classes, so everyone understands kind of like the scaling of everything, or like the abilities. So you have like Saber. Saber is able to beat Lancer, but Lancer is able to beat Archer, and Archer is able to beat Saber, and then vice versa. They're all resistant against each other and stuff. So, oh, I forgot to mention. I totally forgot to mention that. The reason why there's like red and blue arrows. Red means that they're effective against each other, and blue means that they're not as effective. So like for example, Lancers kind of have a disadvantage with the Saber, because a Saber can get up close and personal, can get like really in there, right? And a Lancer they can't really get that up close and personal because, you know, their lance is kind of long. So if a Saber's up in their face, they have that ability of like, they don't have that easy chance of like hitting them, right? But a Lancer is kind of able to defeat Archer because they has that same like kind of same idea of like they're able to get up close and personal, but I forgot exactly what it is for Lancer and Archer, but it works out either way, right? And then Archer's clearly more effective over Saber because Saber has a short distance and Archer has a very long distance, right? Kind of thing. Same thing with the other classes, you know, like someone is more effective versus other people. That doesn't mean they're always weak, right? There's some servants out there who technically should lose in a fight, but they're just really powerful, so it doesn't matter what class they're summoned as, they're just gonna be really powerful in general, right? And then there's other small, not as common classes. I'll go into a couple that are easy to explain. Like this ruler. So there's very rare occasions, but there's occasions where more than 7 servants are summoned. Like, for example, let's say there's 14 servants summoned, right? The Grail can't quite keep track of everyone, so the Grail summons their own servant with no master, and basically that role of that servant is to babysit everyone, make sure everyone plays by the rules, like no one's like doing anything crazy, you know, just making sure that like the war plays out how it should and not anything like wrong. That's their whole role. It's just very neutral people. So like for example, Jeanne d'Arc is a ruler, Sherlock Holmes is a ruler, I'm blanking on other ones, but those are like the ones I can remember right now. Moon Cancer, I'm not gonna go into that. That's a completely different thing. Then there's Avenger. Avenger is kind of someone who's been wronged, and they have so much vengeance that they just gotta let it out. Basically, they're avenging people essentially. They're avenging themselves, right? My most favorite Avenger, I'm gonna say, is Angra. I love him. I love him so much. Genuinely love this guy so much. His lore is that you know, I don't remember where he's from, but he's from like kind of like really like BC era, I believe. There's a religion out there that kind of like that said all humans are evil, but if you put your evil in one person, then you're free of sin, because that person is the core of the evil, right? So they kind of believe that like if they imprison someone and blame them for everything going wrong, that they would be blessed. They would be cleansed of anything wrong. So Angra was this poor kid who got imprisoned, was hated by everyone in his village, constantly blamed for everything, tortured, like always horrible things to him that happened to him, right? And eventually he just kind of like embraced it, of like, oh yeah, I'm evil. I'm the evil embodiment. I'm like everything wrong with society and humanity and everything else, right? And so as a servant, he comes back as an avenger because, you know, he's avenging himself, right? He's avenging the whole thing, right? I just cracked my arm. I don't know if you guys heard that. Wait, gluten-free magic. Yeah, it's like dollar store general magic. Unless you get Shakespeare or Geronimo probably. Lamau Osmandius. That's weird looking family tree. Where's John? Chaucer, woo! So it's that one meme about putting all the federal debt onto one guy and offing him. Yeah, basically, it's just that. That's basically what it was. So Angra comes back as an Avenger. He's kind of low-key important to some of the storylines, but not in a very direct way, in a very like subtle way. But he's very important. He's also known for being the weakest servant, but I love him so much. I don't care that he's weak. I love him. Like in the game, for example, he has the lowest stats. He has the lowest damage. One of his skills actually causes him to die in like a couple turns. He's very useless, but I love him so much. I love this guy so much. But yeah, so that's kind of what an Avenger is. Avengers kind of are powerful against rulers because, you know, rulers are all about the rules and Avengers are all about breaking the rules, basically. Mooncaster, I'm not going to go into that. Just know that they're strong against Avengers but weak against rulers. Same thing, not really going to go into alter egos. Alter egos or foreigners. Also very complicated. Shielders, I don't really think is necessary to go into, but it's basically just someone who carries a fucking shield. And I can't say much more than that because there's only one singular example of that. There's no example besides Galahad. Wait. Other than this one girl, basically, which is her on top of here. She's the only one who has a shield, and that's why she's known as a shielder. And there's literally no other examples of what a shielder is, and I'm kind of peeved. I want there to be more shielder classes, but I guess for whatever reason, I guess storytelling reason, you know, they don't want to include more shielders. Kumo has this thing for gremlins, borderline useless MP, even his own niche. He's precious. I love him so much. When he showed up in one of the Christmas events, I think it was with Nightingale. When he showed up in that Christmas event, I was so happy. I screenshot it so many times. Like, I'm so happy. Yeah, useless, but I love him. Me and my partner summarize. There's one shielder, and she's the most milquetoast piece of mid I've ever seen. Yeah, she's just not. She's okay. She's very bland. Okay. People hate me. I have so many friends that genuinely get so upset when I say this, but Mosh is just very like boring. And like, yeah, she's a pretty character. She could, you know, she's like, I could see her being waifu material and everything, right? But that's all she is. She is literally just like, all she does is give explanation to the story of like what's going on, the historical figures and other things, and follows you around like a lost puppy and make sure you never die. And that's kind of all there is to her. There's not really much other like all the like depth of her character is kind of due to like other effects that are happening to her that it's not really her like depth to her. It's just like they're just throwing shit in there to kind of like make it look like there's more to her character. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just being a hater. Who knows, right? But like I have so many friends that hate my guts for saying that. But she's okay. She's pretty. She's nice. Can't say more than that. I just don't like her being around all the time. Mosh is boring, yes. And annoying AF. She's just Gooner material? Yeah, pretty much. Put her in Gilgamesh bin. No, they go in different bins. She has good rack. Canonically, beginning and end of story. Canis is better. Oh, Canis, oh, Chef's Kiss. I love her so much. Canis is like a woman with abs, and she's so beautiful and amazing and strong, and I want her to hold my hand. But yeah, that's kind of the typecasting, right, for all the servants and everything, what they're there for, what they do, all that kind of stuff, right? What's my next thing? Oh, I think my last slide, but it's a thing. Basically, if you want to get into Fate, there's like a kind of a quick starting guide of like if you just want to get into like just anime stuff, like here's the kind of animes you can get into. Fate Zero is literally like the easiest Grail War. Like as you watch more in the animes, story gets more and more complicated. Like for example, Fate Zero is basically you summon 7 servants. All 7 servants fight each other. One of them gets the Grail kind of thing, right? And then there's Fate Stay Night where you summon 7 servants, and oh my god, all of a sudden a servant is summoning another servant, and this master is dead, and this servant doesn't have their own master, and oh my god, there's all this time stuff going on too you have to keep track of, and so it gets more and more complicated as it goes, right? And then yeah, it just gets more complicated. And there's like, for example, like Apocrypha, where oh my god, you get 14 servants and they're on either the like a red side or the black side, and you have to like you're rooting for one side, and then sometimes you don't want to root for one of the masters, and then there's all these other crazy things of homunculuses and love triangles, and some characters definitely shouldn't be winning, but they are for whatever reason, you know. So it just gets more complicated as the anime goes. Fate Zero is the easiest place to start off from, and I don't know, I think if you like something that has like a strong story, Fate Zero is also there. I will admit the first episode is a little boring because it's kind of explaining everything, explaining like the purpose of the servants, like the characters involved, like all that kind of stuff, all the prep work. And then after that, it's kind of when it starts getting to like the story of like what goes on and everything, right? But yeah, like all the animes are pretty good. Well, no, not all the animes. Most of the animes are pretty good. Some of them are not very good. You have your own discretion of whether you want to skip them or not, right? But most of them are pretty decent. Some of the manga are really good too. Like for example, Fate Redline, or no, Redline type Redline. I always forget the names. Some of these names are really long. That one's kind of cool because it takes place in imperialistic Japan. I forgot what point in Japan. I think it's during World War II, where the main character basically gets kind of thrown back into time and gets thrown into a Grail War. And that's kind of cool. The story is honestly really good. The art style, so amazing. I cannot praise that manga enough. Like it's so good. And coming from at least the game of Fate Grand Order, that the manga kind of really does a good job of showing how crazy like some of the servants really are. Because like for example in the game, when we see the character Nobunaga, we don't really take her seriously because she's kind of used more as a gimmick character. So every time we see Nobunaga, we're for the most part like, oh haha, there she is doing her little like jig and dance, right, and everything. But then we get into the manga and you see Nobunaga as like this fierce, strong, terrifying force of like, not even force of nature, just force of force, you know, like she's crazy, right? She's insane. So that oh my god, not anime, but that manga is so good. Highly recommend it. Then you get like mangas like Fate Strange Fake, which recently got, well, I say recently, but it was like a year ago. They got the first episode, and that's where things get complicated. So it just gets more and more complicated as you get more of the storylines. So Fate Zero is truly the easiest source to get like the basic understanding of like what Fate is and everything. Sorry, I'm reading the chat. Basically, Aza, she calls you senpai or master like 90% of the time. Hold your hand, more like destroy my pelvis with the might of the 7 seas. And don't get me started on the craft essence she's featured in, designed for men. I just finished probably like the most complicated show ever I've ever watched. So I'm not ready to watch anything else right now. Wait, I lied. I watched Unlimited Blade Works. And timelines. Can't forget about the timelines. What the fuck is Apocrypha? Even the bad ones has good fights though, except for the Avenger Demon King Nobunaga. She is, Avenger Demon King Nobunaga. So, oh my god, she's, I love her. I love most of the Fate women. Some of them I just cannot bear, but I love most of them. Marie Antoinette, I got beef with her. I cannot deal with her. But yeah, there's a lot of things in Fate, and a lot of it's pretty crazy, and it's a lot of timelines that kind of like branch off from each other, and it just gets too complicated. I'm trying to think of other things too. I know I skipped over a lot. There isn't like, I don't have most of the series information here. It's just kind of like the universe itself. But some of it's just too crazy. But it's cool. I think it's kind of cool, that concept of at least summoning a servant. Because, you know, they have all these special skills, abilities, and a bunch of other things too. I don't know. I think they're pretty cool, at least. I didn't think I was gonna like Fate when I first like heard about it, because my cousin was really obsessed with it when I was younger. And at that time, Fate was still kind of like, because I don't know if you guys know, you guys probably do, but Fate originally started as like a Arrow manga kind of thing, like very NSFW kind of stuff, right? So when my cousin got into it, it was kind of leaning more of like fan service and Arrow stuff and everything. But then like slowly, like it's obviously started becoming into like a real like series and a real like fan base and everything. And so it's kind of cool. I think the amount of story they've been able to add to it and the amount of like complexities, while it may be a little too complex, I think it's kind of cool of like that they're able to add all these different crazy things to it, right? The Apocrypha novels fixed or clarified Jack's lore, so it's actually connected to her character. Okay, good, because in the anime, it didn't make sense at all. I remember watching it and being like, what the fuck are all these kids doing in Jack the Ripper's lore? I don't want kids. Like, I want to see like Jack the Ripper. Yeah, it just did not make sense. So I'm like adjusting myself in my seat, but yeah. Oh, another thing too, I mentioned about servants too. Like, my understanding of servants, if I remember right, every servant that is summoned, to an extent, either care about humanity or love humanity. Like, there's some level or extent there, and sometimes a little warped. Sometimes it's not like the kind of caring and loving of like, I want to make sure humanity thrives, but sometimes it's the kind of loving and caring of like, I love humanity so much, I'm so disappointed of how we are in a race, so the only solution is to kill everyone and start brand new. Like, so it varies, right? There's some, like, every servant to an extent does love and care for humanity, wants it to prosper, wants it to succeed, but of course, like most other humans, right, there's different ways that kind of like comes about, right? However they end up thinking about it, right? Like, some of them think about it more logically, some of them are more realistic about it, some of them just do it based off of their experiences, you know, like whatever it is, right? In the novel, she's supposed to be the unborn children of Jack's victim. Okay. So she sounds like she's take the role of Avenger before Assassin, but Apocrypha's a mess. Yeah, I feel like it kind of still ties, but I feel like in that sense, then, Jack the Ripper shouldn't be a child. Jack the Ripper should be like Jack the Ripper shouldn't even be Jack the Ripper at that point. Like, I feel like the children should be a different servant in themselves, and then Jack should just be like a shadowy figure, or I don't know, like something, right? Like I feel like it still ties into it, but it's like a very lazy way, I feel like, to tie into it. That's why I love Fate. Oh my god, Fate Strange Fake's version of Jack the Ripper, because that one's just cool. You can literally just be anything. Like, I don't know if anyone has watched the first episode. I highly recommend watching the first episode of Fate Strange Fake, or at least watching or like reading the manga. So good. But minor spoiler here of like the first time Jack introduces themselves to their master. Their master's kind of like at a park, minding their own business, like kind of admiring their like command spells on their hand, and an officer comes up to them, and the officer's like, "Hey kid, what are you doing? Why you got the knife?" Because he used the knife as a catalyst, so he's kind of carrying around this fake knife, right? And the officer's like, "Why are you carrying around this knife? Yada yada, this and that." And then, you know, the master, he's like this kid. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to be brandishing a weapon in public. Yada yada, it's not everything, right?" And then that's when Jack kind of reveals himself of like, "Oh, haha, I'm your servant. You know, I can turn into whatever you want me to turn into." And then Jack goes from like turning into like a police officer to like a very attractive woman to like later on in a different scene being like a fucking watch, like a wristwatch. Because again, you know, no one knows what killed these women, so it's Jack's, you know, it can be literally anything. And I think it's so cool. BRB. Okay. But yeah, I feel like there's too much in Fate, but it's all cool. Other cool stuff, you know? I'm trying to think what else. I feel like there's more that I'm missing on. What are your guys' favorite servants? Let me take a drink of my water real quick. Are we gonna talk about altars? Yeah, we'll talk about altars. Here, let me make a new slide. Let me make a new slide right now. On. When Ozzy comes back, she's gonna be like, "Whoa, new slide!" Because they're at least the big ones in Heaven's Feel. You know, I haven't watched Heaven Fields yet because I was kind of like, I'll wait till the old movies come out, and then they did, and I just kind of never like decided to watch them. Okay, so we're gonna throw in let me see. I'm like searching up on Google right now. Okay, I'm gonna throw in her. Is it gonna be blurry or is it gonna like get better? It's still blurry. Hold on. I can get a better picture. Maybe this one? There we go. Perfect. So I have her here, and then I'll throw in I'll throw in, where is she? This one right there. Are they different heights? They are, right? Because this would be their height, right? Or no? Same, but you know, maybe a little different. I'm trying to like measure up their heads. Oh well, close enough. Who else? There's so many altars, but most of them are like saber faces. Who else is an altar? I'm trying to think. Oh, Arjuna. I'm gonna throw the Catboy version of him though. He's so fine. Wait, oops, wrong one. And then, ooh, actually I'm gonna throw in, I don't know if you guys seen Karna altar. But he's so fine! That's all I gotta say. Actually, I'll throw in this picture. Oh my god. I love him. I love that all these altars have like some, like I love how these ones are just black and red, and these ones are like splashes of color. Okay. Oh wait, I'm blocking him. Hold on, there we go. You guys can see him now on the stream. I'll wait till Asa comes back. Emiya altar. Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna add Emiya altar. I don't know if I want to add him. I remember when that event came out in English, and people had nothing but bad things to say about it, and I feel it's a little too controversial to add. Oh, my cat scared me because she was like on the cat tree, and she looked like she wanted to step on my desk, but she was getting like in a really weird oh my God, position for it, and I was like, are you gonna get on my desk, or are you gonna like jump on it? And oh, and she knocked something over. There she goes. But I love all the altars. The altars are kind of cool. I mean, I guess I should get into them too anyways, because like that's the whole thing with Arjuna, right? He corrupted the Grail, right? Wait, in that case, let me pull up my baby boy. Hold on. Let me pull him up. Angra Mayu. He looks so ugly in like the official art, besides in the game. I'll put him like right here in the corner so you guys can see him on the screen. Ah, perfect. You guys can wait. No, you guys still can't see because of the chat. Maybe down here. Perfect. There we go. Apparently, he's the ultimate version of Emiya's path if he won the morality debate. So bad end for Emiya. Yeah, he shoes gang, all my homies hate wearing shoes. Yeah, Angra, that's why in like Fate Zero at the very end where like Emiya's having like that whole like thing with like seeing Irisville? No, yeah, right? That's her name, Irisville? And what's the little one's name? The little kid. I forgot her name. Yeah, when he's having that whole scene, right? The entity he's talking to is the Grail, but it's literally Angra like poisoning the Grail, you know. And back, yap away, okay, what? Okay. Wow, a magical slide that just appeared out of nowhere. Who knows where it came from? But Turkey kind of brought up a good point. I should talk about the altars too. It's for Fate. So Fate has, if a character is altered, they literally just call them altars, basically. As it were on the goth GFs and BFs. Yeah, that's where all the edgy people come in. So, you know, they're like how I mentioned earlier, there's Jeanne d'Arc, who's a ruler. Well, guess what? There's edgy Jeanne d'Arc called Jalter for like, you know, Jeanne d'Arc altar, just shortened Jalter. There's Jalter, who's edgy and hates humanity. Whoa, you know. And then we all heard about Saber, right? But there's actually an edgy Saber that also fucking wants to dunk on humanity. I don't remember enough about Arjuna altar and Karna altar, but they also have some beef with humanity. Ultimately, usually when there is a altar, they have some issue with humanity. There's something, but it's not best Jalter is best altar backstory Lamau. Or no, not Lamau. IMO, my opinion. I don't know. Whatever Karna has, no, I'm just kidding. No, I just love Karna. But yeah, most of the time, if there's an altar, it's because something is wrong with the Grail, essentially. And at least for some of the stories, we can lead something wrong with this guy. This is my favorite character. This is the loser that I love so much. I love him so dearly. It's this one right here with all his tattoos and everything. He looks sick as fuck. But yeah, he's the guy that basically everyone like pinned their troubles on, right? He was summoned, in one of the Grail Wars, and he was supposed to be like the guy that. So going back to that family, that German family I brought up, the Eisenbergs or the Eisenbergs, Ibergs. Anyways, the German family, right? I always forget their name, how to pronounce it, but they summoned Angra as their like, oh, this is gonna be the one that wins it. He's gonna be like the one that like really brings it home, that we're gonna win and we're finally gonna get the Grail, you know, kind of thing, right? They summoned him and they realized how useless he was. He just wasn't strong. He wasn't able to do anything. He dies pretty early on in the war. I think he's like the first servant to die. And he just feels so much rage that he poisons the Grail. He literally like embeds himself into the Grail, so the Grail no longer is its own entity. It's now like something that Angra to an extent has some sort of control or influence over, right? So like there are some instances in the stories where Angra is trying to influence people to do the wrong choice because, you know, he's evil. He's not like a good guy, right? Like, he's not the greatest guy, right? So he's trying to influence people to do the wrong choice, right? He's trying to get something wrong or get someone to do something wrong. But, like, in some cases it works, sometimes it doesn't, right? I forgot exactly what goes on with Saber, but I know she gets poisoned by the Grail because I believe she gets flooded with, like, the dirty Grail juice, right? Basically. Where you're so angry that you piss into literal God Cup and ruin everyone's day. Yeah, literally, you ruin not just everyone's day, but like decades. I don't know how long he's in there. I don't know if he's ever actually came out of the Grail. Not gonna lie. But yeah, he's able to basically poison someone's, like a servant's, what they call as a spirit origin. And it's kind of the easy way of saying like the spirit origin is the core of someone, and if that gets changed, you're genuinely changing the core of that person, right? So like with Saber, she got affected by the Grail, which is being affected by Angra, and she turns evil essentially. She turns into very wicked, very like die humanity kind of thing. I don't know. I haven't watched Heaven's Field, but I know it's something like that, right? She's not a good. She's an evil servant in Heaven's Field, right? Jalter's situation is a little different. Jalter came about. I haven't read her story in so long, but if I remember right, her situation came about because, Joan of Arc, she got burned at the stake, right? Which is kind of sad. R.I.P. She was a bad bitch. And so instead of Joan of Arc coming back as a benevolent and godly person, right? She comes back as this baddie right here, and she's like, "Fuck you, humanity! You guys screwed me over, so now I'm gonna screw you guys over." And she's kind of the villain in the part of the story, but she ends up being good. Everyone ends up loving her. She slayed too hard. She really did. She slayed a little too hard. And yeah, so everyone loves Jalter. She has a skin where she's like in this like cool puffer jacket and everything, and she has and she's in these shorts and stuff like that. And she looks hot. She looks amazing. But yeah, so every servant, if there's kind of like an evil version of them per se, it's kind of manifested in the form of an altar. And again, an altar is just an alternative version of what they are, which is loose speaking because there's always alternative versions to every servant because they're summoned differently. Sometimes they act differently, whatever it is, right? But these are like the most altered versions. They're very drastically different from their core personalities, basically. I love her. Damn right, we all love Jalter. Woo! I'm a ride or die for the dragon, which she's pretty hot, not gonna lie. She's pretty hot. But yeah, that's pretty much what alters are. They're all very different. They all have very different personalities, ideas too. All are very different. A lot of times they do share the memories of their core personality, but that's because they're like, oh, I remember when I died, and that's why I'm all upset, that's why I'm mad and stuff like that, right? So you could have Jeanne d'Arc, the regular version, and Jeanne d'Arc as the alter version, and they will both have they basically just splintered at the point of their death, essentially, of one being upset and one being okay with things, right? Realistically though, for the most part, you can't really summon an alter version just because they have to be affected by something. So you can summon a servant and then have them be altered, but you can't like off the bat get like Jolter, off the bat get like Saber alter, whatever it is, right? Like that's just not how it works, unfortunately. So if you want, if you want your goth GF, you're gonna have to go through a couple leaps and hoops, I know, kind of sucks, but I mean, the only exception technically to this is my guy right here, my guy Angra. He's just a little guy, he's just a guy. He's just so useless, but I love him. But yeah. I was gonna say something else. I remembered something else as well, and it totally like left my mind. But yeah. Saber Alter is neat because her core is more or less the same. She's just more ruthless and cold. For Britain or die, all that junk. Yeah, she's pretty much all, like mostly the same. Like so, again, like when you're altered, it varies how different you're gonna be. But for the most part, you're more of like an eviler, quote unquote, eviler kind of version of yourself. But yeah, I forgot. Like, I don't know if I should go more in depth with like the spirit origin. But spirit origin, like I said, is just like the core of the person, and it can be altered in different ways. So like in the game, that's how they explain like servants suddenly switching classes, because there's spirit origin like was altered to be a different class, right, and everything. Not the same alter as like evil version, but just oh my god, all of a sudden for this summer event, I'm no longer a lancer. I'm a caster. My spirit origin was changed, kind of thing. Kind of stuff, right? And that's kind of like when you summon a servant, that's what you're summoning. You're summoning their spirit origin that manifests in whatever appearance they are, kind of thing. That's kind of cool, I guess. It's a good way to explain things, like if you need something quick. Angra, I didn't get that. I didn't get the attention I wanted, and I'm just gonna make it everyone else's problem. I would have given him so much attention. I would have pinched his little cheeks. He probably would have killed me, but I would have pinched his little cheeks and been like, oh, I love you. But yeah, I think it's kind of pretty much not everything about Fate. There's so much more about Fate. There's way too much about Fate, but that's kind of like the idea of like what it is. It's just people summoning historical figures for this cup, and the cup is supposed to grant you all your wishes, and it's gonna come true. That's a lie. It's not all your wishes. It's one wish, But you can ask for anything. Like, if you're a servant, you could wish for like being alive again, or you could wish for the well-being of your whole country or whatever it is, right? As a master, again, you can also wish for like whatever you want. Like D&D, like I wish I had the ability to use real magic and not this like knockoff magic, whatever it is, right? Typically, mages who are in the Grail War are trying to use the Grail to unlock something, like something, because for them, for mages, like knowledge is power. Truly, it is power for them, right, and everything. So they want to be able to try to like unlock their power whatever way possible, and sometimes it's just literally getting to like a battle royale match and hoping for the best. The master doesn't need to die, but sometimes like the master has to die, like the master doesn't need to die. The servant is the one that needs to die, but there's some people out there, some masters will tell their servants, hey, go kill that master over there, because if you kill them, you kill their power supply and they're gone, So while you don't need to die in a Grail War, the chances of you dying are also very high. It's a very high risk but high reward kind of thing to get into. Kumo, what's the top 5 favorite and bottom 5 least favorite servants? Expose your degen taste. Okay, top 5 for sure is Angra, and then I have oh my god, Kukulane Alter! I forgot to add him. Hold on. There's hold on. Wait, let me scroll back down. Let me make room. I'll have him right here. I'll have her right there. Him right there. Right there. Him right there. Okay, there's room. Right there. Kukulane. Oops. Alter. This is my dude right here. I fucking love this guy. He's literally won me all of my battles in game. Like, I love this guy so much. He's just so good. But yeah, love this dude. Wait, I'm in the way. Hold on, let me move myself. Wait, ooh, wrong thing. Not that either. What is that actually? Oh, never mind. I see what it is. There we go. Let me lower him back down. Okay, this one. I love this one. This one is definitely top second pick. He's crazy cool. I love the tail design, to be honest. I love it. Kumo likes tails. No. This specific tail type specifically. This one very, very specifically. That's very important to mention. I like that he has a tail. Yeah, he has a super cool tail. I love him. He's like edgy. Well, so do I, Turkey, so it's fine. I also like Merlin. I'm trying to think who else. So Angra, Kuklian Altar, Merlin. Oh my god, who else? I feel like I have to look at all the servants. Hold on, let me pull up a list of all the servants. Servants. Can I look up all these servants? Hold on. Let me look at the tier list. I feel like the tier list might bring some. I want to say Argent Altar is up there as one of my favorites, but I feel bad because it's only because he looks cool and I don't really know much about his character. Let's see, who else? I'm not gonna lie, Achilles definitely there, so that's 4. And my 5th person, I'm gonna say Gilgamesh Caster. That's my top 5 of servants that I like. Servants that I do not like are for sure Boudica, whatever her name is. I don't like Boudica. I fucking hate Marie Antoinette. I feel bad, but Helena's kind of on there too. She hasn't done anything wrong. I just really can't vibe with her character at all. I'm not a big fan of Helena. And then who else? Oh, what's her name? The assassin of the Nightless City. What is she? Oh, she's an empress, right? I don't remember her full name, but that chick too, little lolly empress sadistic chick. I don't like her at all. Ooh, what's Uriel's sister? Where is she? One of the twins. What's her name? Where is she? Oh, Steno? Fucking hate Steno. I think it's 4, right? I need one more. And then Galzareus. Hate that dude too. I do not like him. He's just fucking creepy. Oh, I forgot to mention, Van Gogh is also one of my favorites. I love Van Gogh so much. She's crazy. I love her. So if I had to pick 6, that would be my 6. If I had to pick the other 5 servants I didn't like, those would be my 5 servants. I don't want to say like, oh, I'm picky with my servants, right? But like, I have a list. I keep track of it. I try at least. He also has a silly little coffee. Yeah, he does. Whoosh state. Oh my god. Whoosh I can't, for whatever reason, I cannot say it. But the other lolly we don't ascend past her first artwork. Yeah, she's awful. I will not say more than that, other than she's straight up awful. That one, what story did she show up in? Is it Agartha? Fucking Agartha sucked. I hated Agartha. Truly, like, a horrible story. Just was not enjoyable at all. But yeah, I think it's all Fate stuff. Van Gogh fills your Lovecraft fix as a, oh, here, let me just show as a Van Gogh real quick. My background. I'm gonna put it right there. Van Gogh. Van Gogh is super, super cool. So when you first summon them, they look like, let me see if I can find a picture of them. So when you first summon Van Gogh, they're very cute. They're very cutesy, very, you know, they look like a little painting, right? But then as you keep going, they basically turn into like this. And then, let me see if I find the other one. And then eventually they also turn into this. I'm making it bigger and bigger as it goes. So I love their design so much. Lizard Guy is probably my second fave. Josh's my second fave. Wait, Josh's my first fave. I like that. Yeah, I think it's so cool. So, interesting enough, one of the classes I didn't really want to talk about is the, what's it called? Not the Foreigner. It's the, is it the Foreigner? Actually, it might be the Foreigner. Hold on. Let me check the classes one more time. Where is it? I think it is the Foreigner. Just that, yeah. So, the Foreigner is basically a class of, if something is not quite from Earth, they're foreign, right? If they're not from human history, if they're not like from what we know, then they're foreigners, right? I forgot exactly what Van Gogh's like lore is in the game, at least, but this is kind of how she appears. So she appears as like a regular, just regular little guy, and then she slowly devolves into like this. I don't know what she is, but she's fucking cool. She's crazy. Like her, like, let me see if I can like zoom in on her eyes a little bit. Like, it's a little blurry, but like she has like the black scleras and these crazy like blue eyes and everything too. And just, I don't know. I think it's fucking sick. I love using her so much. When she came out, because I'm an art major, right? So when she first came out, I was kind of like, oh my god, Van Gogh is so cool. I need to have Van Gogh, right? And then as I kept playing, I was like, oh my lord, I love Van Gogh. Like, I need Van Gogh. So they are eldritch in a sense. Yeah, they're pretty much eldritch. They're kind of crazy. Van Gogh is literally, I think, only like 1/3 Van Gogh and 2/3 Outer God in the universe. Yeah, something crazy like that. They're not quite human. I don't think they're quite Van Gogh either. I think they took the, if I remember, I might be wrong, I'm probably wrong to be honest, but I think they took the appearance of Van Gogh. I don't even think they actually are, and they're a faker basically. They're not truly Van Gogh, but here they are in this fucked up cool form. Like, I don't know what it is, but I love it so much. Yeah, pretty crazy. There's an Outer God portraying themselves through the lens of Van Gogh, I think. Yeah, something like that. I forgot exactly like the whole lore. I didn't really quite get into their lore, but I just love the design so much. So, it's so good, so good. But yeah, a lot about Fate. A little too much about Fate, but that's a lot about Fate. I had to watch some videos today of like what to talk about exactly, because I was like, oh, I know about Fate, but what if I don't know enough, right? So I'm like, let me go watch some videos just to make sure I know like what I'm talking about. So yeah, they're probably Lovecraftian or Dunsinian? That's cool. I don't know what that is. That's cool. I think they are like Lovecraft inspired. There's a couple servants that are Lovecraft inspired, but they're not favorable servants. Some of them are servants that I would rather never have to, if I was in person and I had to meet a servant, I would not want to interact with some of these Lovecraftian servants, only because how fucked up they are. They're like truly like disdainful. Favorites in order: Avenger Nobunaga, Siegfried, Doctor, Kriemhild, right? And Super Bunyan, easy 5. Oh, Super Bunyan's so cute. Bunyan's adorable. I love Bunyan so much. Lord Dunsany was a guy who inspired Lovecraft to write. Dunsany wrote a lot of like cosmic stuff. Oh, cool. Little talking about Abigail. No, I was actually Abigail. I don't know. I think I like Abigail. I never actually got into her story or anything. I think it's the one singularity I actually haven't done, or like the small singularity. I haven't done the which one yet. No, I'm talking about more like Gil de Rai. Like, fucking hate that dude. I hate that dude so much. It just, like, he's so cruel and like, I don't like that dude. But he does have to do a lot with like, I think eldritch like gods and stuff like that. I believe that's what he made his deals with and everything. But yeah, just awful. I hear my cat going crazy under my bed. 1 second, let me check that out. Okay, I'm back. Oh, I cracked my neck. But yeah, I think that's everything I can talk about Fate right now. At least without having like a script or something like specific. I think I'll have a lot more like explaining kind of like streams, or maybe like just yapping streams. Only because I'm not super confident yet in like my gaming like skills with my internet. I'm just slightly paranoid that my stream's gonna like die or something. I still haven't figured out, like, I don't have an Ethernet yet in my room, and it's because the port in my room actually doesn't work. So I want to figure that out, and then I want to rearrange my room so it's like it's closer to the router versus like where I'm at now. I'm actually the furthest away from the router, so I want to like you know, figure that out before I get into like games and stuff like that. And it's probably just easier for me to talk. I can talk a lot, which you guys probably know, but I can talk a lot. So I just want to have like at least streams that I can be kind of consistent in, that I don't have to like game or like do too much gaming, you know, until I'm able to like get that figured out. I enjoy these yapping streams. I'm glad you do. To be honest, I'm really nervous sometimes before these streams, because I'm just like, I really hope I know what I'm talking about and that people want to listen to me, you know. Just cause I can yap about so many different things, but the trouble is, right, like, do people want to hear about these topics and everything, right? So I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. I at least enjoyed the stream. I wanted to do Fate specifically because I knew most of you guys like watch Fate, or at least know some extent about Fate, so I felt like it'd be easy, because then at least like everyone else is interested, right, in the topic and everything, for the most part. So I'm glad this stream worked out. This is neat. I'm not doing the homework though. I don't care about the final grade. I don't know. It sounds like someone's getting a D here. I don't know, maybe a failing grade. Who knows? But yeah, so I'll probably just do more like talking streams for like a little bit. And then I don't know if I should mention this. I'm gonna mention this one time, only because I don't know when else I should mention this. But how will this affect my GPA? As you're passing, so you're gonna get like a 4.0, trust me. But I think I'm allowed to talk about it. But I applied, or I pre-auditioned for a VTuber agency. Oh my god, my cats are going crazy. I'm sorry. That's why I keep looking away. I just hear my cats like kind of going crazy. But yeah, I pre-audition, and I call it pre-audition because I believe I'm not sure if they're having formal auditions or if it's just the questionnaire like first. But I filled out at least like the questionnaire portion of like my information and like what I do. But it's always really awkward doing that kind of stuff, because like you have to like sell yourself, but it's usually like, oh, talk about what you want to stream about in less than 150 words, and I'm like, oh my god, what do I want to stream about myself or about in general in 150 words? You know, it's just very hard to kind of like go through that kind of stuff. But yeah, so I did that. I am both hoping and not hoping I get it. Well, not hoping, but I'm hoping I get it, but also not expecting myself to get it, only because I don't know, I don't want to be like too eager for it and then be like, oh, I didn't get contacted or anything, right? But yeah, so I just want to mention it right now before I forget later on. I feel like I'll probably forget, and then one day I'm just not gonna stream and you guys are gonna be like, what happened? You know. I don't know if I feel like I am allowed to, because the agency even like posted like a format that if I wanted to like post, I could, with their format saying like, oh, I auditioned and everything. But I don't know, I kind of feel like it's important to have some sort of like level of secrecy, or maybe that's just me. Maybe it's just me having some sort of like thing about it, right? But I auditioned with this. It's a small agency too. It's not like a major giant agency. So I'm not gonna have like this huge following or anything, right? But it's something, right? It's a step in the door of like kind of what I do want to do later on. But yeah, you know, it's a little thing. It's a little. Hopefully, if I do get it, it'll be an accomplishment for me. Hopefully, it'll be some more income as well. Like, I'm not expecting myself to be like rolling in money or anything, right? But from what I saw, at least, it'll be at least some small form of income that's gonna come in too, which will be kind of cool. But yeah, you know, that's kind of what I did recently, and I think they said by December they would let like people know of like the following steps. So I guess in December I'll hear for sure like if I'm passing or not, you know. Getting a D in Fate means I get a good lover 90% of the time. Having a word limit is so dumb. It really is. I hate word limits so much. Kumo rebrands for an agency and she has to lock away her degeneracy map. If the agency sends spectators to observe your streams degeneracy, I will make sure to muzzle myself. No, it's okay. I don't know, like, I don't know how they're gonna do it. I have a suspicion of I know how they're gonna do it because, like, because I've auditioned for other things a couple times, and of course, right, I never got in, but it's fine, right? Because, you know, I at least get that experience of trying. But for other things that I have applied for, typically for the audition, it's a 5 to 10 minute video that kind of goes over like your both personality, streaming style, and like some other things, right? And usually within the first to be honest, first 5 to 10 seconds, you have to like really like be like stand out or something, right? And that's usually how it goes. And for this agency, they didn't ask for a video, they just asked for links of things. So I feel like someone will spectate some of my streams at some point, but I'm not gonna really let that bother me or change how I'm streaming. I'm not gonna suddenly be like, oh my god guys, PG here all of a sudden, you know. Like, however I stream is however I stream. If they decide to choose me, then, you know, I'm what they're looking for. If not, then it's, you know, it's just not gonna work out. But that's fine. I'm not gonna, like, I literally lose nothing doing this. So, you know, it's just like, if it happens, it happens and everything. Kumo has to appeal a remarkable plushie. Really? I could be a little plushie? I want to be plushie. I'm gonna draw myself as a little plushie now. But yeah, that's kind of what I did recently. Who knows what's gonna happen as me trying to like at least get a foot in the door kind of thing, or like get myself out there a little more. I'll call you a thumbstill here or on Blue Sky. Either way worked, man. Of course I have, like, there's no contract or anything yet. Like, I don't know what they're gonna, if I were, right, like thinking ahead, if I were to be accepted or anything, I'm not sure if I can say like, hey guys, I'm gonna be so and so on this YouTube channel, follow me kind of thing, right? But if for any reason I like were to graduate or be like, hey guys, I'm gonna like go on a long hiatus, quote unquote, you know, like a really long hiatus, whatever, then you guys will probably know what that means, and I'll try to see if I can find a way to let you guys know where to go afterwards. But again, that's just thinking ahead. That's thinking a little too ahead, you know. But that's kind of like my thought process right now. But yeah. I've been streaming for about 2 hours. Oh my god, my cats are being chased. They're like chasing each other. I've been streaming for about 2 hours now. I'm a little tired. I haven't eaten my dinner yet, so before stream, me and my roommate, we bought a Christmas tree, so we're putting that up. I know it's a little too early, but like Christmas trees are selling out really, really fast in my area. So we're like, fuck it, let's just buy it right now, set it up, and then, you know, hope we get like ornaments and stuff later for it, right? So yeah, so I haven't had a chance to eat dinner yet, so I think I'll call stream here and then eat. Girl, you need to eat. So I know I need to eat. But also I've been low-key binging a little bit like recently, only because I've been like, I don't know, I feel like eating as an adult is like really hard because you have to like, keep track of things, and then I don't know, like I think it's really hard for me to keep like a solid eating habit, you know, or like eating schedule, whatever it is. So I just kind of eat whenever, which I know is bad, but like I feel like, I don't know, I didn't get that like checked out or something. I don't want to look. I don't want you to look anorexic like me. No, I think I'm a okay weight right now. I don't want to talk about it too much right now on the stream or anything, but I think I'm a okay weight. But I need to eat better for sure. Bruh, November isn't even half over. That's true. Oh my god, we're still in the beginning. Wait, not even beginning. What day? The 11th. We're like, oh my god, we're almost halfway through November. That's crazy. I feel like my birthday was literally like a few days ago. Where is the time going? It's too fast. A little too fast for me. It's still Halloween, estimate. You're right, it's still Halloween. Wait, hold on. Where's my wait, where's my thing? I don't have my model, but that would have been so funny if I had my model. Yeah, it's still Halloween. But yeah, I'm gonna call it here for right now. I'm gonna get some food and then I'll rest up, and then it's been raining the last few days, so I know technically as a thundercloud I should be okay with the rain, but I fucking hate the rain. Like, I'm not used to it. I'm a very Californian person, so anytime I see the rain I'm like, oh my god, the sky is falling out, like falling down, you know, it's crazy to see it. You lost a sick boy, so you're short again. Gotta get that balanced diet, or else you'll have a kid build and we'll have to put a sign on your head. Oh my god, I can't read. We'll have to put a sign on you saying you're an adult. Good night, Dum Dum. See you next stream. Trust me, I'm very short. If you were to ever see me in real life, I'm a very short person. I'm not tall at all. For concerts, I hate being in the very, very back of the concert, of like any concert, because I can never see over the crowds. I'm always on the balconies if I can be. I'm a very small person. I've been buying platforms just to balance it out. But yeah, thank you guys for coming to my Fate stream and hearing me yap for 2 hours over like however many slides I had, like 10 slides, whatever. Yeah, thank you guys for coming so much, and I appreciate you guys. I'll probably stream tomorrow. I'll figure out what to stream. So I'll see you guys then. Alright, bye everyone. Good night. I'll see you later. Goodbye.